This summer, feel free in FP with the Summer 2022 collection from Free People, a lifestyle brand crafted and curated for the creative spirit. As the summer heats up, Free People cools you down with bright colors and optimistic prints, always expressing your creativity. When you're looking to tune out, or when you're looking to tune in, when you're looking for peace of mind, when you need that moment of zen, when you feel free in FP. Shop the Summer 2022 collection at freepeople.com.
Empire. Smart footwear can change the game.
I know that we're bringing a lot of innovation and a lot of new information that wasn't available to this sport, specifically starting from indoor tracking to very accurate acceleration, deceleration, injury prevention.
That's Guy Aharon, co-founder and CEO of Playermaker, a company that uses your feet to acquire data on your game. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. We've done shows on wearables for years, but this is the first I can remember that involves devices in footwear. And honestly, it's odd we haven't come across this yet. Now, Guy Aharon believes he has a solution to helping performance, and it's not on your wrist. Our guest this week is Guy Aharon. He's a CEO and co-founder of Playermaker, which is the wearable footwear-mounted performance tracker that has been raising more money and capital to release soon a new multi-sport platform to drive their expansion beyond the sport of soccer, beginning with basketball. Hey, Guy, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm great. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Tell me a little bit about the background of Playermaker. What was behind the thought of building the company?
So the company, we started it with a vision to bring more for athletes in a way that just not provide data, but insights of what it means and how you can become better. We've realized that in the modern sports, physical is not enough. There's athletic skills and you need to be technical, smarter. And there's a whole new generation of athletes that don't just want to know the data, they want to know how they can improve and have the feedback mechanism. And we wanted to collect information that would help them to be healthier, but also have better athletic skills and know how to do it.
Why footwear? Why did the device end up there?
So we actually started with kayaks. I'm an avid kayaker, and I thought that it's one of the most beautiful sports. I still think currently there are not too many tens of millions of people who think that kayaking is a great sport. And we developed a sensor at the beginning to track kayakers' motion and provide them with this feedback. Very soon we realized that in order to build a giant technology company in the world of sports and to justify the huge R&D and the technology that you need to do this, you need to have the professionals because they derive the market, they bring the innovation, they bring the brand, and you need to make the business or the scale through the consumers. And that eventually you cannot be focused on one sport. You need to be a multi-sport focused. And we said, how can we do something that would work for all of them? And then we realized that footwear is the way of doing so. Because, if you run, if you play basketball, if you play football, if you play soccer, you're using footwear. And this is what brought us to the connected footwear. And I'm happy we did this.
Let me go back to the kayaking for a moment, though. Why was it in footwear when you were tracking people who were kayaking? We developed a great product for kayak that was disrupting sport. The problem was that the sport was too small to justify or to create a huge company. And we understood that we just need to cover the professionals, the recreationals, and to do it on multi-sports. And the way it was, we were searching a path to do it, and the footwear was the way to do it. Yeah. Okay.
Usually you kayak barefooted, so it's less relevant, the footwear there.
And with the tracking device for shoes, where does it go? And does it go on any shoe?
So we are now based on two sensors for soccer or for boots with cleats. It's a strap that you mount on your footwear. We are also working on solutions that will allow multi-sports when the footwear is flat. and I guess we will announce it later in the future, but this is something that we're working on. Eventually, the sensor is super tiny. It's in the size of an SD card. So it allows us to be very flexible of where we put it, either as part of the footwear. Eventually, I believe that footwear will be embedded with connected sensors, and I believe that Playermaker will be the standard for doing so. Or if you buy footwear and you want to add it as a sensor, and this is what we're doing. There are tens of thousands of people that day to day wear the sensors with the strap or with the other solutions that we have and become better athletes. And I want to believe that we have a small part in it.
Okay. And what kind of information are you able to get from the device from an athlete who is training or playing and using Playermaker?
So the information that we provide, we are tracking the gait on a very high level of accuracy. So we are measuring the gait, the motion of the foot, the right foot and the left foot, about 1,000 times a second. And it allows us to have a very deep analysis of the gait, so how you touch the ground, what's the time between the foot was in the air and the contact time, the flight ratio. And we compare between the right foot and the left foot. So this asymmetry also helps us to indicate that there's something wrong with your biomechanical motion, which may lead to an injury. And talking about jump height and acceleration in the acceleration, since we're tracking the biomechanics of the body, we can do it indoor, outdoor, in any kind of condition and with no installation for any sport. And specifically for soccer, since we're mounted on the footwear, we're tracking the player-ball interaction. So how many times you touch the ball, number of touches, time between receive and release, kick velocity, and some unparalleled insights that nobody else can provide on the scale and accuracy that we do.
So to get the type of information you're looking for, are you asking athletes to do specific type of training regimens to then take the data you get from it, or are you just asking them, put it on, play soccer, and we'll get data from it?
You described it like, do whatever you're passionate to do. We are mixing purpose and passion with data. You do whatever you want to play, you want to train, don't do anything special for us. Don't change your habits. Do whatever you love to do and what you're good to do, and we will just another layer of information and insights that will help you to figure out what you're doing and probably how you can do it better. One of the things that we are bringing is that, and it's our philosophy, we don't want to create habits. We want to improve habits. So we don't want to make you run more or play more or train more. If you love to train, we'll be there with you. If you prefer to play more and enjoy the games, we'll be there with you. Don't change your habits.
But to maximize the information that you're getting, do you need the athletes to do something in some kind of controlled manner so that you can really judge whether there is something that needs to be altered in their form?
So you just need on the setup to mention if you're a man or a woman, your age, physical parameters like height, etc. And once you do this, we will guide you and show you, either you can do a set of drills that you're doing and to just mark them as medical drills. But what we've discovered is that most athletes want to improve from game to game. So what we will do is that we will show you mostly how you've improved from one match to the other. This is kind of a similar scenario. We will walk you through the training and indicate what kind of things in training are improving. But then again, when you finish a match, we'll tell you this was better from usually how you play a match or from the last match or from other players that played the same match or match at your age.
Guys, are you looking for that extra confidence when it's time to have fun? Let me tell you about BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men combat all forms of ED. Blue Chew is also an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, all done online. Blue Chew's tablets, made in the United States, and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. And here's a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code FUTURE, F-U-T-R, at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code FUTURE, F-U-T-R, to receive your first month free. Okay, so that's what's happening in soccer with you. You guys are building out a new multi-sport platform, and you've mentioned this, that your goal is to branch out of one sport and get into multi-sports. What is the plan for the company, and which sports are you looking at that you believe the device will work for?
So my toughest job as the CEO of the company is keeping focus, because actually there's no limit of which sports we can go. We're exploring for opportunities. As long as there's movement and there's footwear, we're there. We're strong believers in team sports. So I believe that the indication that would go would be around the American football, but basketball, this would be the sports that we're exploring. And I believe that in the next few years, we'll have some big news around this sport. I know that we're bringing a lot of innovation and a lot of new information that wasn't available to this sport, specifically starting from indoor tracking to very accurate acceleration, deceleration, injury prevention systems, asymmetry indication. So this is the areas where we're looking for. Also very keen to explore more into the more traditional American favorite markets, in addition to the one that we already have.
Guy, you had mentioned earlier, too, that you believe that all shoes at some point will be connected in some way, or at least athletic shoes will be connected in some way. Are you talking to shoe companies to embed this type of device or work in partnership with them?
That's a tough question. I don't want to avoid it. I'm limited in how much I can share.
Right.
What I can say is that there's a huge interest from many brands, and they're all seeking for a way to connect footwear. And we are all walking, or most of mankind is walking through their feet.
Yeah.
And nobody today is tracking the feet. I know it's like we have indications of steps from our wristband, which is great, but we're not walking from our hands. So I can tell you that there's a race and a lot of interest from, I think, all of the players in the world of athletic footwear, and not just athletic, some health care, to connect their users through their footwear. Because, you work with footwear, you walk with footwear, you dance with footwear.
Yeah.
It's always there.
One of the key points that you guys sent out in a release about what you're doing is disparity in funding for male and female athletes. And as I hear you talk, I don't know what the difference would be for a female athlete or a male athlete to use your product. Can you kind of expound upon what your company means by what's happening in the marketplace in wearable technology?
So first, the women's sport is an incredible sport that unfortunately through the years was a bit delayed in the attention and the resources. So if you compare a women's team, a very successful women's team, to a very successful men's team, on most sports, you'll see that there's a big gap of resources. This gap of resources brought the fact that, that maybe a men's team have 10 sports scientists to track the athletes, and the women's team have less. What we do is that we use the power of our technology to bring and create equal possibilities for all athletes. So no matter if it's a rich team or a poor team or limited in resources, our technology mined this gap. And we saw an opportunity in the world of women, first, that there was no knowledge. There were about 40,000 researchers about men's soccer, and maybe 4,000 for women's soccer. So there's a friction of what we have. And we were bringing this first for an audience that and that we're bringing it into the world of the athletes, and they are keen and they want to learn more and know more, and it's a growing sport, and business-wise, there's also huge opportunities there as well.
Okay, last thing for you. This is not just meant for professional athletes or high-level athletes, but for everyone and recreational players as well. We've talked to other groups who deal in this space and wearable technology and the data it provides. Think about educating the non-professionals who are not working with trainers, et cetera, on understanding the data that they receive about their own movements.
There's a challenge of educating. It's a significant challenge. And I think that if you look today at the Gen Zs, they're smart. They know how to use data. They play video games where they consume data. So they know how to understand it, what it means to fantasy leagues and others. And I believe that as long as we simplify the output and we make it very plain and understandable, it's less education. The environment is encouraging, knowing more, being more aware of yourself, consuming data and using it. And the new generations are very smart. So I believe that the gap of education is more feasible than ever.
Guy Aharon is the CEO and the co-founder of Playermaker. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again for having me, and have a wonderful day.
On the next Future Sport podcast, the monetization path for collegiate athletes has shifted, and this group is disrupting the memorabilia business.
The name, image, and likeness space especially is so new and so revolutionary. It's so young, and like I said, we were an early mover in the space. We were, the first real NIL company in the space doing something like this. So we're continuing to use, that momentum that we've had since July 1st of last year in the space. And, that's our focus right now, continuing to help, these athletes monetize in the future.
That's Hunter Pomerantz, co-founder of The Player's Trunk, where a group of former team managers devised an idea to help athletes sell their game-used gear. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein.